Hey guys, today we're gonna talk about the Blender glass shader. You know that I have a Blender course and there I use a different method to create a glass. I thought it was easier and simpler, but maybe I was wrong. So now we're gonna look at a different way to create a glass material in Blender. I opened my file from the Blender course, like somewhere from the middle of the course, not the final version of the course, but let's have a look at it. So this was the model that I have, and as you see, the glass material is quite well. I'm happy with it actually. You can still use this. There's nothing wrong with it. But I want to show this other way too because I kind of like it and I think from now on I will use it more. So I will just copy everything. I will just duplicate everything to front to have two identical cars here. And on the second one, on the glass material, I will just remove the material from here and we're gonna create a new one. And this way you will also see how quick it is to create this new version. I'm gonna hit new to create the new material here. On the first one, if you remember, we played around with the alpha and it can be kind of dangerous, let's say. I will leave it there, and on the new one, we will not touch the alpha at all. All I'm gonna do is I will come here and increase the transmission to 1. Nothing happens, actually something happens, but it's not transparent yet. For doing this, I will scroll down to settings, and here there's screen space refraction. I'm on the EEVEE render engine and I'm just gonna check this box. Still nothing happens. And then on the render engine, render properties, under the EEVEE, I will go down, and if you remember, we turned on the screen space reflections, but under this menu there's also refraction, and I'm gonna check this box. Still nothing happens. Actually something happens, but we don't see because under our material we didn't change the roughness, so it's kind of like half of the roughness, and I will just decrease the roughness, and it started to be kind of like a transparent thing, as you see. When it's rough, of course, it was not that transparent, and I just bring down the roughness to 0. Now it looks a little bit awkward, so the one last thing I'm gonna do is under the material, under the settings of the material, here when we check the box of the screen space refraction, I'm just gonna add refraction depth to 0.01. And here we go. Now we have really nice glass material. They look similar to each other. What's the difference? Yeah, first of all, this one is a little bit darker, like the old one is a little bit darker, so we can always change the base color to something darker, and they look almost same, right? But the difference is, on the alpha one, you can see the reflections to the glass is kind of also pale, like kind of low opacity, because alpha basically makes the whole material lower opacity. But here on the new one, we didn't mess up with the alpha, so even if it's transparent, now we have all the reflections of the glass. So it looks more like a glass. We can even go further and we can add a clear coat on this one. And the clear coat will be as it is. But on the alpha, if I add a clear coat, actually we already have a clear coat, but it is directly proportional with the alpha, which means if I decrease the alpha even more, clear coat also is decreased. But on the new one, clear coat and the transparency of the glass is totally different inputs now. So it's more accurate and it's better to adjust things as you want. So I think it's a better way to use this method. So let's see how it would look on the rendered view. Let's go to rendered. And now we are on the EEVEE, so it's totally fine. It's same with, more or less same with the material preview, so there's no problem. But if we go to cycles, let's see what will happen. I will switch to GPU, of course. And now on the cycles, we have really dark material here. So I will just come here and make the base color more lighter, something almost like white, or let's make it directly white. And now it's more transparent and it's the glass that we want. However, let me show you one more trick in this video, because we don't want to always change the base color when we go to EEVEE engine, and when we go to cycles, we don't want to always come back and change the colors if you want different effects. So for doing this, we will come here to the shader editor, and I'm gonna duplicate everything here. And on the first material output, I will pick cycles. And on the second one, I will pick EEVEE. So when I'm on the cycles, now this is our material for cycles, and this is our separate material for EEVEE. So for example, on cycles, we can keep it like this, with the white base color, and it has nice transparency and everything. We are happy with it. But if I go to material preview, and if I want to make it darker, I can come to base color, and I can make it darker. I needed to click here to activate it, and as you see now, we can play around with it. But to see it better, I will just give it something like a red color here. So as you see on the EEVEE now, it's red. And if I go to render view again to cycles, it's not red, it's the normal glass material. Or on the render engine, if I change it to EEVEE, again we have this red one, because The one on the right now is responsible for EEVEE rendering engine, and the one on the left is for the cycles. So this is a better and efficient way to create the glass shader in Blender. So I wanted to update this information in the Blender course as well, so you can find it in the course. And if you don't have the course yet, if you still don't know Blender and if you are struggling with it, you can click the link in the description and check the details of my Blender course for car design specifically. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give me the thumbs up and subscribe if you're interested in car design, and see you in the next video. Actually, the red one is not bad, huh? Like, we can make it red. We can even make it some like pink. Even the body color can go something, let's say, funny. Let's change only the new one. Yes, like a purple Lamborghini, but it's a mini.